So thank you for being back. We will be done soon. We shouldn't take too long. Once again, the entire conversation around public administration is to just say, okay, you know what? Ordinarily, where should our country be? Uh, what is stopping us from getting there? And what can you and I do, either as individuals or collectively, um, as a people? What can we do to help? Where is this country going wrong? Where can we help? What kind of knowledge and skills do we need to build if we're going to be able to help Nigeria? So, and I do think, I mean, hey, you and I can help this country. There is really nothing that stops us from being able to help the country. Um, I was looking at something um, earlier. So this is Nigeria is a place that is conceptually great. Nigeria, concept wise, it's not bad at all, but execution wise, it's a nightmare. I was looking at the Tinubu manifesto, brilliant manifesto, conceptually brilliant, conceptually. But once again, like every other thing, it breaks down in execution. I was thinking about, what exactly had been put in place or the thinking, all the promises and all that in terms of the Tinubu administration. And conceptually, I mean, all those promises make sense. You also see, so in fact, I'm going to pull it up now. I'm just going to pull up the BAT transformation agenda. It's not even different, significantly different from where is the article? Uh, Transformation agenda. Everybody has a transformation agenda for Nigeria. Everybody, so conceptually, these things are great. Everybody will talk about how Nigeria can be can be fixed, what can get better in the country. Everybody has some blueprint, but that's what it ends up, a blueprint, something that is should I say, conceptual. There's no form of reality to it. And now, rather than just you and I sitting down there and consistently complaining and all that, the idea is that what can we do? Can we do anything? Is anything within our power as individuals, collectively, and even individually, as it is? Is there anything that we can do to help this country? And I do believe there is something we can do. There has to be something we can do in our own power, in our own capability, wherever it is that we're seated, um, uh, as individuals. There's something, well, we should be able to do to be able to help the country move forward. Um, so Atiku has a brilliant, I mean, all these things are always properly conceptualized. The problem is always in their execution. I'll put up the Tinubu versus their Atiku plan. You will see how brilliantly all of them have been written. You will see it's brilliant document, properly, you know, in terms of the thinking, but everything falls flat when you're thinking about the execution. And so you and I need to be people who are prone, we're execution biased. We think more of execution rather than just the theory of things. A lot of people have gone through this class. I have gone through this in one program that I had done and all that. I have professors who taught me some of these things. But once again, where is execution? What's the point of all these great conversations as it is if you and I cannot be people who can be, should I say, relied on for proper execution. And one day, I bet you that you're in this class, someday you're going, some demand is going to be placed on you for the knowledge that you're gaining in this class. Somewhere, someday, somebody is going to say, speak to me about the key areas that you think Nigeria should be transformed. We can't say we're people who are educated, but when it comes to national issues, transformational issues, we will say we don't know anything. That's not good enough, and that's why this public administration class is essential. Is essential with regards to the thinking of you and I as people, as individuals, and even the thinking of our of the younger generation that will say, what can be fixed. I have my friend. She said her daughter just got back from the UK into Nigeria, and that all she keeps saying is that, "Mommy, isn't there something we can do to fix this country?" And the mom said, I mean, I don't know. Like, me, I'm just going to work and ensuring that you people you can eat and sleep. I mean, I don't think it's my responsibility, or it's my focus to try to fix Nigeria. Now, who am I? That this Nigeria is too big for anybody to fix it. So once again, all these things are always um, properly written, properly conceptualized. Where does it fall flat? Execution. And so, as managers, as individuals, as young people, as analysts, you and I need to always think execution. Execution should be our watchword. How do we execute this? We're not people who are learning just for learning sake. We're learning with a bias for execution. And I would like to add my own quota to the fixing of Nigeria. I don't need Nigeria's money to to do well. I know how to get money locally, internationally, everywhere. But I think, you and I should add our own quota to Nigeria in whatever capacity or the other. Let's not add to the problems of Nigeria as it is. So if we can even start to teach our younger generation the kinds of things they should yeah, sorry. I think I've made a mistake somewhere. The kind of things, sorry, 1 second. I'm just trying to put this articles plan together so that it kind of makes sense. So that once again, you and I, management of economic resources. Okay, good. So I should have done this. Yeah, I'll just leave it to this one. Okay, good. That's fine. So we can add our own bit. Imagine if we have a new generation that thinks like this, a new generation that looks at it and says that, what, this country can be fixed. Of course, some people will tell you that this country can never be fixed except via some kind of revolution. I don't know. Some people are better students of history than I am. Somebody has said that, go and check the history of mankind. When things get very bad, if those things are going to be fixed, it usually will have to come with some kind of revolution, that people will be killed, lives will be lost, and it's on the basis of that the country can be fixed. As I said, I'm not an expert in history. I haven't studied the history of the world. I'm an engineer. I'm not a social science expert. Um, so, though this line of work is about social sciences as it is. So look at this articles plan. It's a brilliant plan. It's a plan that really talks about the reformation of Nigeria. But even if he had gotten there, will this plan, would it ever have been executed? I doubt it. I doubt it. Whether he got there or did not get there, this plan would not have been executed. So this is the line of work that we call It's social sciences. Public administration is part of social sciences, and that's why you see it's a combination of many things. And so in the second in the second year, you oh no second semester. What am I talking about? We're going to do social psychology, and Nigeria needs to be fixed. Nigeria needs to be fixed. Some of you that have dual passports, three passports, 10 passports, yeah, maybe you don't give it, you don't care if the country is fixed. Um, for people who don't have where it is that they're going, then you better care that the country is fixed, because if you're here and you don't have an alternative, then you and I should be interested. Um, if I was younger, I probably would have left the country. Unfortunately, I'm not younger, or fortunately. It can be either way. Either fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not younger. I cannot go anywhere. So I better add my own quota to the fixing of Nigeria. This is when I truly know that I don't even have a choice. I have to I have to add to how Nigeria is going to get better. So I'm going to enjoin you in your own capacity, in your own way. You will also make money. I mean, that goes without saying. I work for government institutions. They pay me for all the work that I do. I'll be in Abuja next week. I'm going to be paid for the work that I'm going to do. There's also a lot of money working for these elements called international bodies who come and put one money or the other into the Nigerian economy. So there is a lot of possibilities if you're thinking about it from that perspective. But yeah, as I said, um, sorry, 1 second. Okay, okay. Hold on. Let me go off this. Okay, no, hold on. Okay, right. So let me share my screen. So who are those on the call who are significantly interested in public policy, in social reforms? Who are those kinds of people that they have some kind of real interest in in social reformation? Who are they? Can I see your hands up? If you're one of those people, you have a lot of interest, good interest, not just interest to make money. Right? Yes, you will make money. I don't really think that goes without saying. You'll make money. I don't think anybody can stop you from making money. But it'll be good that as you're making money, you also have some kind of interest in developing the country. So once again, can I come to the chat room? I want to see who are who are all the people who have interest in social reforms, in public administration. A lot of people, it's just money, it's just the money side that they're thinking about. Say, I can't work for NNPC. They're like, hey, big money. All right. So one of the topics we're learning, everybody, and I like this topic a lot. One of them, so okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Everybody look at Tinubu's agenda. Brilliant, huh? Brilliant. Brilliant. Right? What will be the problem? The problem is never really the agenda. The problem is always um, a function of doing, a function of execution, a function of implementation. From a conceptual perspective, this is great. National security, economy, agriculture, power, oil and gas, transformation, education, healthcare, digital economy. Look at everything. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, right? Judicial reform, federalism, foreign policy. It is brilliant from many perspectives. It is brilliant. However, what is usually the problem The problem is always execution. The conceptualization is great. The conceptualization is brilliant. Look at Article Zone. That one's even way more extensive. Everybody, can you see? Extensive. The document is available. They've gotten global experts, maybe McKinsey or one of these people, PwC, they've written transportation, power, technology, housing, petrochemical, funding national priorities, economic resources, human capital, women development, culture and tourism, arts, entertainment, the creative industry. Like, you know, think about it, and it's there. And if you're somebody who is really interested in some kind of transformation type thing, you need to get a document like this. And if you're a young person, you need to think about this. If you're a young person, you need to think about this. Where are the opportunities? And that's why, if you're a capitalist, you will also see a lot of opportunity in Nigeria. You will see a lot of opportunity in this country because everything needs to be fixed. Everything is there conceptually, but everything is ineffective. Everything is inefficient. So the ineffective and the inefficient nature of any and everything that we have in the country makes it brilliant for intervention. The inefficient and ineffective things that are in place makes it brilliant for for intervention. Somewhere in here, you should be able to see yourself. Somewhere in here, you should be able to see what can I add, what can I improve, how can I, add my own quota to this whole thing. So the things have been thought through. They've given it to experts. The experts have thought about everything. But the problem is always execution. Even if Atiku was there, would he have solved all these problems? No. BAT, is it solving all these problems? Not necessarily. Right? Not necessarily. I mean, it's almost 1 year. And so we can't be talking about 100 days now. It's almost 1 year. In another how many days, right? February, March, April, May. That's about 120 plus, yes. And about 121 and 30 days, we'll be speaking about 1 year in office. Successes, goals achieved, tangible things done, measurable things that are being done. So Nigeria is I mean, look at it. There's a department under budget and planning that is called reform coordination and service improvement. Reform coordination and service improvement. Brilliant, eh? Conceptually, brilliant. Conceptually, everything is always conceptually great. Look at their mandates, functions of the department. These are all the things that they're meant to do. Do they do these things? No. No, measurably. They do one tiny bit. Boma, can you please help me erase this thing? I'm not sure whether you have administrative control. I mean, this mark that is on my screen. Uh, yeah, yeah. Where is my eraser? Okay, Boma. I have somebody. Yeah, so let me see. Where's the eraser here? My mouse, select, text, draw, stamp, spotlight, eraser. Good, good. Thank you. Right on. Okay, good. So look at it. Reform coordination and service improvement. This is what they're meant to be doing. Are they doing it? Not necessarily. Okay. Um, what the things they're meant to do. Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. Look at it. Go and check on the site. They have NDP, National Nigeria Agenda 2050. Everything you're thinking about conceptually, they exist. Once again, conceptually. In execution is where everything breaks down. In execution, documents can be written. You can have seminars. You can have symposiums. You can have all sorts of things. But do they follow through? Do they actually do these things? That's where the problem is. That is where the problem is. So there's a huge opportunity to fix things in your own way, in your own capacity, as individuals. There's a huge opportunity, because in here, look at it. It talks about all the reforms, and I'm not. I mean, the material we're going to share with you will talk about all these historical things, the history of each of those public reforms. And then, of course, there are, in one document, I also have something for federal character. What exactly is federal character as it is? You know, that representation. Every time you go in Nigeria, federal character, we even have something called the Federal Character Commission, right? And then we have that whole thing under the budget office, right? So, and then what does federal character mean in Nigeria? So that representation everywhere you go, the people will be like, an Igbo man cannot do this. Or say why? They say, federal character. You have to, a Yoruba man was the one that did it before, an Igbo man cannot take over now. It was this before, and it's meant to be this now. So we'll have all sorts of the federal character principle. What does it mean in Nigeria? Yeah, well, I mean, they say since that what fairly reflect exactly, it must reflect language. That's it. It must reflect language. Federal character in Nigeria must reflect language, ethnicity, those kinds of things. I mean, of course, it makes sense, isn't it? It definitely makes sense. Where a big country that size of ours, we can use it to our own advantage, and we can also use it to, it can also become a huge disadvantage. What exactly does federal character mean, the federal character principle as it is? All right. So uh, what does it mean? Why should we be worried about federal character? Exactly. No better representation of that. That, you know, everything must represent this. Now you can see that with federal character, you have moved away from competence. You have moved away from many other things. Yeah, the focus now is purely, you know, is it a decent representation of Igbo, of Fulani, of this and that. So nobody's talking about, is it effective, is it functional? That's not what people are talking about here. They're just saying that, you know what, so if the best person to do that particular thing is uh is an Igbo guy, you're not going to give it to him because, you know, uh because of federal character. If the person is a Yoruba guy, you're not going to give to him. And of course, I understand. I mean, we're not going to talk about these things without really showing that we understand what the constraints are. Nigeria is a big country, right? Nigeria is a massive, it's a massive country. So there's no way you can do these things without taking into consideration that the other people, we have to take all those kinds of things into keen consideration. That it's not only Nigerians, it's not only an Igbo man that can be found competent with regards to this thing. This thing can also put a Yoruba man there. Why not? You know, so and of course, once again, there are advantages and disadvantages to this federal character thing. So that's what that's what it is. So we won't say that it is all bad, but yeah, it has got its advantages and its disadvantages, because, you know, when you're doing that, I mean, your focus is primarily on the other things, not so much as on whether the people are competent to do that thing, or otherwise. You're really just focused on um yeah, you're just really focused on, okay, is he from the right ethnic background? So let me hear from everybody. What do you think about this concept of federal character? Do you think there's advantages and disadvantages of federal character, right? Are there advantages to it? Right? Are there advantages and disadvantages to federal character? If you go somewhere now and somebody asks you that question, you as a student of Transformation College, are you able to speak intelligently about federal character and its advantages, its disadvantages, its value. Is the right, that we must represent everywhere, especially when it comes to government appointments and things like that, that we must have decent representation. Is it great? Everybody can. Who are the social science experts on the call, right? Is it good? Is it good? And at the detriment of what? Because that's the other thing, right? This federal character is at the detriment of um what? Okay, what are the advantages and the disadvantages of federalism? Well, I'm not even sure it means it's exactly the same thing, but in a sense, yes. You know, uh, yeah. So, are there advantages and disadvantages to federal character? Can I hear from people who are the social science experts? Is it great? Is
No,
there is there is there an alternative to it? This is the best way to do things. Uh, yeah. Can you help me mute that person, please? And you type, yeah. Sarah, can you please type? Yes. So anybody. So please, we once again we're looking for support. There are many disadvantaged people that we have. Some of them need computers to attend these classes effectively. So if you know entities that we can work with, if you know individuals or institutions that can help, please speak with Edith. We're happy to approach those people, um, to give some free computers to some children that need to be a part of this course and they don't have computers, some don't have internet access as it is. So please let me just put that out there. If you know people, individuals, institutions that we can work with, that can support this initiative, please, we're happy to speak to them. We're a properly governed institution. We're not hungry. We're not this is not for profit as it is. So please, we need to support a lot of people as it is. So yeah, so federal character, is it good? Is it bad? During some people were against Peter because it was evil. Yeah, I mean I agree. Some people just is make believe and the body of consent should be a standalone. Yeah, so yes, so please, I mean, yeah, so you can type anybody this federal character thing. Are there disadvantages? Are there advantages and disadvantages to it? Okay, so my worry is always with regards to my worry is always with regards to every time we I'm working with a government institution and somebody is best suited for something, and then people will say no, 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 we can't give it to this person. And then I say, why? And then I'll say, oh, it's because of this. And they will say something. So, look at it. All right. Federal Character Commission Appropriation Act. Okay. So, I mean, it's always very funny because I'm like, what do you mean by, this person? It can't be this person. So there is the Federal Character Commission, federal as it is. So um uh, no, this is not what I'm looking for. This one is the budget. I'm looking for the ministry in itself, right? Or the commission, sorry. Some of the commissions, their websites are down, so you might not be able to find what it is that you're looking for. So Federal Character Commission, the website was obviously down. So why will we have a government institution and their website is down? So yeah, so these are uh, these are important things, all right? And okay, sorry. Yes, under office of the, yeah, office of the secretary to the government. Mm. Anyways, so Federal Character Commission is big when it comes to federal character, so there's no going around that. I think it's under the presidency, as it is, Federal Character Commission, who they are, what they do. I mean, for people who are academics, it'd be nice for you to go into this line of work, where we can have extensive conversations around what is the job of Federal Character Commission? Should Nigeria keep pursuing this federal character thing? Right? Should we put it aside? Is it still valuable, or was it valuable in the past and it's no longer useful? Is it a thing that is still uh functions of the commission? Uh, so an indigene, because we're also going to do something today on what we call indigenization. Okay. Okay. I mean, and then this federal character, is it fair to women? This Federal Character Commission, is it fair to women? Does it, can somebody give me a response? Does it adequately take care of women rights, gender equality, right? Is it a fair representation from a gender equality perspective, right? So these are all things that you and I. So I'm hoping some of the young people on the call, that these things are resonating with you. As I said, after now, you can always go back to look at some of the things we have said. You can always go back to some of the things we have said, and go back to review them. You can listen to this all over again, and you can ask questions. We're happy to answer your questions as it is. Uh, Federal Character Commission, right? We're happy to answer your questions. Are these things, is it fair? Is it done properly? Is it a decent representation for women, for example, right? Does it is it very gender sensitive, here, and things like that. So these things I cannot effectively, and should I say, discuss everything. I can't. Even the functions of the commission have been, it's not showing the power, the principles of the commission. So, because these are very important websites with regards to the things that we're doing right now. Okay, these um, are very important. So look at it now. 6 zones shall consist of the following. So the most competent person shall procure from each state. What about if the most competent person in a state is only half as competent as the least person in another state? And I know Nigeria is a big place. I always tell everybody, look at the population of West African countries, right? Look at the population of West African countries. Uh, and all of a sudden, in the midst of all that population, you just see one country that is now, how many people is double or triple every other person's own. So look at it, population as it is at some point in time, and Nigeria just goes above every other person as it is. We're a large country. We're definitely a large country. So guiding principle for distribution of all cadres of posts. So this is the most critical thing in Nigeria. What is the guiding principle for how we give people positions and how we give posts as it is. So right? So please give me a minute. Let me quickly speak to somebody coming to disturb me. Right. So federal character, the do's, the don'ts, the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to federal character. The good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to federal character. All right. Is it good? I mean, and I'm sure people have written all sorts about it. Some people have written all sorts about federal character. Like, maybe federal character is good inherently, but maybe it needs a certain kind of reform. It's possible that inherently, just like most other things, conceptually it makes sense, but in execution, sorry, give me 1 minute, please. Um, give me. All right. So, yeah, I was going to go to the chat room. So once again, it all depends. More that Sonny says the disadvantages are more than the other. Afi says the major advantage I believe is to provide equity. Equity at the detriment of what? So I mean, these are big conversations. These I cannot finish these kinds of conversations on this call, but you've got to really think about it, that is there an advantage to some of these things in reality? Like most things, as I said, remember I said something. I said most things in Nigeria, the conceptualization is not bad at all. The conceptualization is great. Whether its execution is great is a different ball game entirely. All right. So, I mean, the concept of these things, it's not bad at all, right? So, I mean, equal representation, some kind of equity and things like that, but at the detriment of what? At the detriment of what? As I said, I showed you something. Where is the article? And yeah, this is the Tinubu. These are the areas that need reform, right? So, I mean, the because the reform in the economy or in the country is also automatically hits on ministries and parastatals. As I said, look at it, right? Look, everything on my screen. Who is meant to drive it? Who is meant to be in charge? Who's meant to take responsibility for a lot of these things? There's a ministry, there's a department, there's an agency that is in charge. So if you're going to fix agriculture in the country, you have to also fix the ministry that is driving it. If you're going to fix power, you have to fix the ministry that is driving it. So if you want to address a lot of these things, you can conceptually address them generally. But when you really think about it, you're going to have to come down to who is in charge of this particular thing. Because everything here, there is some government institution has the mandate for it. Remember, one of the things we did earlier this morning was something around where is it now? When we're talking about some of those ministries, where are they? Yes, some of these people. Look at these entities: defense, education, housing, budget and economic planning. Okay, water resources, right? Agriculture. There is a ministry, there is an entity that has the responsibility to fix these things. There is a ministry, there is an entity that has the responsibility to fix these things. Are they doing their job? Have they fixed it? Are they addressing these things? That's where the cookie crumbles. So, national reform is a nice conceptual thing, but that national reform in itself comes down to the reform of various ministries and entities of the government, because everything in the country, some entity owns that responsibility, right? If you're driving on the road is bad, somebody who owns that responsibility. If children are hawking goods on the road, somebody owns that responsibility. If the gutters are full, somebody owns that responsibility. If everywhere is scattered, sanitation problems, somebody owns that responsibility. So, you know, but I mean, you can't be a Nigerian and you go, and that's why that citizenship education is important, because you can't be a Nigerian and you won't understand what this federal character thing is. You can't be somebody who knows anything about public administration in Nigeria without this. Once again, these are things that I didn't write them. This is all part of number 9. It's all part of number 9. What different people? The only one I'm probably interested in is the Aida one. That's because he's a family friend. He's a family friend. He's my dad's friend. So because of that, I'll I will say that I have some kind of interest in what Mr. Aida and others um PS Aida, what some of those things what they have said, right? Review presented conceptual leap to restore workforce vigor and realigning cultural attributes. We'll see it in the one of those things, but I mean, so you can see that this is not my thinking. That's why I said that this NID business informatics, it's very rich. It's condensed, because this is part of the curriculum. It's not my making. It's not my imagination. This is exactly what it is that they give to us. So you can see that 9.6 then says you and I should analyze the implementation and the impact of federal character policy in the public service, and that's the problem. we've discussed it adequately. This federal character is at the detriment of what? Usually at the detriment of picking the most suited person for a certain role. That's it, because we have to consider many other things apart from just who is the best person by competence, by capability for a certain role. All right, I'll move on because of time. So, I mean, if you get the chance, go and read the article document. It's a brilliant document. It's a brilliant, brilliant document. Brilliant document. Well thought through, well conceptualized, brilliant. What is the thing that is missing? Execution. It's always a problem of execution. Okay. So a reform of Nigeria is automatically equal to a reform of the public institutions, ministries, department, parastatals, and Nigeria has 600 and something of 600 plus who have the responsibility to fix this thing at the national level. We have a bloated government. So, I mean, that's where the problem is. Lastly, amongst the topics, because there are 10 topics, everybody remember, there are 10 topics in here, is this concept of indigenization. So federal character on one hand, indigenization on the other hand. All right. So what does indigenization mean? That you pretty much that we should own our own thing. Am I right? This thing should be done by us. Oil and gas should be done by us. Of the commercial activities. So, right. So indigenization came to place because of colonial masters. Okay. You have all these colonial masters who came in. And of course, in this line of work, what's that book? How the West underdeveloped Africa. I don't think you have to read this book in any kind of socials. How Europe underdeveloped Africa. I don't think you can do this line of work. And this guy was killed eventually, as it is. Walter Rodney. So I don't really think you can. I mean, I read the guy's story as it is. You can't do this line of work and all that without having a sneak peek of that book. How the West underdeveloped, how Europe underdeveloped Africa, and of course they had to just kill the guy because the guy was saying too many things that the entire world felt that it was unraveling too much as it is. So once again, indigenization sounds great, right? But you will also find out that has it completely worked, right? So you will see the concept of indigenization means our own. No, we must own our own thing. What do you mean by that? We cannot give it to Europeans and other people in this world to manage. It is ours. We must own it. But has it really worked? If indigenization has worked, even yesterday, somebody was saying, how do you compare the roads done by the likes of so let's compare the typical roads. So everybody, I mean, once again, please go to the chat room and give me your own thoughts when people are talking about indigenization. So once again, somebody was saying yesterday that compare any road at all done by local contractors and all that by the ones done by Julius Berger. All right, that today like this, just compare any road at all that is done by international by foreign entities in comparison to what is done by locals. If you look at in Ghana, I don't know if anybody has traveled to Ghana recently. You will see over the last 5 or 6 years or 7 years, they outsourced the airport. They gave it to the Chinese to build and all that. But Ghana could have done it themselves all along, but they couldn't, and they agreed to that thing, and now they have that airport, and it's a beautiful airport. Sometimes I'm coming from other places. I would even stop over in there because I have chairs, I have a clean toilet, I have toilet tissue paper, I even have Wi-Fi at the airport. Right? I have a place to sit if I'm waiting for my flight, a comfortable place to sit. There's always a condition at the airport over the last 6 7 years that they've given that airport out in Ghana. So is indigenization, is it the solution? Because indigenization means that we must do it local. We're the owners of the thing. Let it be done by Nigerians. Nigeria for Nigeria. What's that thing? Nigerian goods for Nigerians for something, something, something. And conceptually, it's brilliant. Conceptually, it's a brilliant idea. But in reality, is it a brilliant idea? Right? So, I mean, there was Nitel in this country, and until MTN came, and if you still look at all the entities, it is MTN that is still the number one. Now, if it was a Nigerian entity, will it be like that? So, is indigenization truly is it the solution to social problems? Will indigenization solve all our social challenges? Because some people seem to really love indigenization, but has it really worked? Somebody will say, well, it might not have worked, but it is still better than allowing foreigners to run it. Is it about foreigners or is it about something being done properly? Right? So let me hear your thoughts in the chat room, please. Is this indigenization? Does it make sense? Does it work? Right? So I want to hear from people, right? So this indigenization, like that, oh, let the thing be owned and run by Nigerians, by the indigens. It is we. Okay? It is we. Whether we have the skills, whether we have the expertise, whether we have the knowledge for that particular thing, whether we have the funds or the will or whatever that thing is indigenization the resolution to our problems? I don't think so. I definitely do not think so. I definitely don't think so. Indigenization is not the solution. It has its advantages. That's why we don't want to in South Africa. A lot of those things are owned by outsiders. In in South Africa, a lot of things are owned by a lot of these things are owned by outsiders. In what did they call that place? In Kenya, some of these things are owned by foreign entities. But if you, so which is better? What are we chasing? Are we chasing? I want to hear from people, though, please. Anybody that is here, please, can you contribute? I want to know, this indigenization, is it the solution? All right, has it worked? So when we look at it historically, as indigenization, has it worked in Nigeria? All right. What does indigenization also aid local local, what's that thing called? Uh, um, does it help to strengthen some people locally and at the detriment of others? Right? Does it help that some people, they're now the strong ones at the detriment of the others? So these are all things under this public administration. It's a deep course. It's a deep course, and I mean, I keep saying that I wish I knew all these things before I even got into university or in my year one or year two of the university. That I can speak intelligently about federal character, like I can speak intelligently about indigenization. Imagine if your 17-year-old self could speak intelligently about these things. That would be amazing. Daniel says, not at all. Has it worked? I mean, I don't think indigenization has worked. I'm not, I mean, so once again, these things are there. It's good. So for anybody who wants to learn a lot about, some of these things, you should definitely go read this book. There's even the audio book online, on YouTube. Okay. So this is social sciences, this is public administration, and that's what this is. I think one area that I skipped earlier, because we had talked about bureaucracy. One area that I skipped was this part, and I had to go back there. Yes, this thing that talks about administrative control. I think I skipped it. Yes, administrative control, because I wanted to add some things to it. Okay. And administrative control, you can see here, it speaks about the judicial on one hand, the executive on another hand, the legislative on the other hand, the military on one hand, and then the other forms of control. So what else? All right. So the other forms of control. So the judicial, the executive, the legislative, right? I know we had spoken about, I'd put a slide. Where is that slide? Yes, I know I'd put this slide here as it is, but now this was not really yeah, this is the best place for it, where we now spoke about, yes. Yes. Because that's what this was saying. Ah, no, what am I doing? Yes. So, all right. So this is what this is saying: the judicial, the executive, the legislature, or legislative arm, or legislature. Don't know which of them is the right way to put it. And then so it talks about all of them having a sense of control, or sorry, a responsibility for control. Each one has his own responsibility in terms of what it is meant to be doing. Are they doing what they're meant to be doing? What is the reason why they're not doing what they're meant to be doing? Why? Why is it that, all these things are completely broken? You can bribe all sorts of entities. People can get away with all sorts of things. Um, what is the idea behind these three forms of government? So, if you're going to be doing this course, and that, once again, that's why I like this business informatics. It's brilliant. It really combines a lot of things. Right. So the three arms of government, what is their job? The judicial, right? So what exactly is their job? Over the courts, administration, judicial control, justice. All right. Over administration, protect the rights of citizens, that you have the right to sue people and to also be sued. All right. So that's the judicial control. All right. All right. And can somebody seek redress against the government? Absolutely. Can I sue the Lagos state? Yes, people do this every day. Can I sue for election? I mean, I was still listening on the news. They said, oh, this case has been thrown out by the Supreme Court. Everybody that took Sanwo-Olu to court that the elections were bribed, the Supreme Court has the right to say, oh, this is fine, this is not fine, and things like that. So, judicial, what is their job? What is their responsibility? Right? The executive, what is their own job? These Senate people, right? So, the executive, no, Gary, what is their job? The presidency, what exactly is their own responsibility? What should they do? What are they allowed to do? What should they drive? All right. Okay. Okay. So, what is the job of the presidency? And all right, executive, the executive, what is their job? Nigeria, what is their role? Supervise and direct. All right. Make all the appointment policies, okay, for deciding which treaties should be signed and all that. This is the executive arm of the government. And outside of the executive, right, we have the legislature. So here, Senate, House, Parliament. But Nigeria, once again, conceptually, these things are being done properly. Conceptually, but in execution, that the people who are meant to be the representatives of the citizens. But these people, I'm not sure they go to represent anybody. I think they go to represent themselves, I think. So, but of course, it's very possible that they're representing the people. But maybe they are. Maybe they're just not doing it at the level and to the extent that they should be doing it. So maybe they're doing it. Maybe they're just not doing it to the level and to the extent that they should be doing it. Nigeria is a great place conceptually, but and then of course you have the military or the Nigerian Armed Forces. So we call them the military forces of Nigeria Armed Forces, and there are three branches. There are three branches to it: the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, primarily. The Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. It's good to look on the website of some of these entities so that you will understand what is their mandate, right? It's good. Some of them have great websites. Some of them, their websites have been properly built. Some of them, they've taken the right things into consideration when they were building the website and things like that. So it's good to leverage the information that is on the website for each of them, right? So Ministry of Defense, and that's why I put this here, okay? The operational head of the of the Nigerian Armed Forces or Armed Forces of Nigeria, Chief of Defense Staff. Okay, and then you have the Ministry of Defense. So, okay, so Chief of Defense Staff and the Nigerian Defense Minister. They have almost half a quarter of a million active personnel. Okay, so we have trained people, but all these entities need to be better run. All these entities need to be better governed. All these entities need to do well or do better. One other entity that's also very important is the Office of the Accountant General. And you know what happened with one of our accountant generals? How much money did they say that we had one accountant general that stole plenty money? How much money did they say he stole? Does anybody know? One accountant general like that just literally cleared the cleared the treasury. Does anybody know? Anybody? Are you coming to the chat room? How much did they say? So it's important. How much did they say that man just literally cleared off? So great people. This is the whole course in itself. Public administration. So it's big. Okay. So for Ministry of Foreign Affairs is also very important. As I said, Nigeria is brilliant conceptually. Ministry of Foreign Affairs are the ones that are in charge of everything that has got to do with the diplomats, isn't it? So, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, what exactly? And then Nigeria also has a foreign policy. What are all those movies or series that we watch that talk about the foreign policy of Nigeria? Of America. Right? What are all those movies that we watch that talk about foreign policy? So, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it's great. They're the ones that drive a lot of things and all that, and they've got different departments in there, right? High research, statistics. Nigeria also has a foreign policy, right? Nigerian foreign policy. So Nigeria has a foreign policy, supposedly a great one, a great foreign policy in their country. A great foreign policy. Nigeria has a foreign policy. Mhm. So, but once again, are these things is the Office of is the Foreign Affairs Commission, are they doing what they're meant to be doing? Are they active foreign affairs? Because I mean, these things are all very important to us as a country. How do we say we have a great country if our foreign affairs ministry has problems? And we don't. We can't. We can't. We cannot. All right. So I I think I have covered um everything. I think so, right? So I think I have covered everything. Talked about the differences, influences, talked about culture, public administration, and many other concepts in here. So I think I've covered everything. Once again, let me come back to the very beginning. The 10 things, the 10 areas, right? These are the 10 areas, um, objectives of public administration according to this NID curriculum. 10 areas for public administration according to uh, according to the NID curriculum. I believe I have covered everything. These are the 10. So we have talked about a lot of these things. Um, we've talked about this. All right. Okay. We have spoken about that. We've spoken about personnel practices. Yes. HR. The controls of administration. Yes. Um, environmental factors. Yeah. I think bureaucracy. Yes. We have administrative development reforms. Yes, we have the concept of indigenization. Yes, we have. Okay. Uh, historical development. Yeah, and the general principles. Yes, and then you will see more of these things in your in both in the questions that we're going to give to you, and we have some sample questions, and we also have a more extensive training material as it is that you're also expected to read. Okay. Okay. Um. So if you spend time answering the questions, um, you will gain a lot from it. If you spend time just answering all the all the questions um that we're going to give to you uh as it is, this speaks to the environmental factors. This speaks to the environmental factors. Let me see. Okay, yeah. uh, okay, good. So yeah. Yeah, various ones. The various factors that deal with public administration. Uh, yeah, yeah. Public administration. So there are many things when it comes to public administration. We're not going to. I don't think we should treat it further than what it is that we've treated. Otherwise, it gets too complex for a lot of people. But I think, by and large, we have covered um, a lot of what it is that is useful and necessary to ensure that all of us are extremely knowledgeable and intelligent when it comes to public administration. Imagine that this whole course that I've taught today is actually meant to be an undergraduate course. Can you imagine? That is extensive. Even I, if not that I've done some things in my recent life on social sciences and SDG and those kinds of things, I would have even struggled as a person. But so yeah, I mean that's why we say it's great. It's important that you avail yourself of this opportunity. Next week, we're also going to be doing something very interesting. I'm going to look at which of the courses that we're going to take, and hopefully, you will also be here. Once again, there's opportunity to tell people. There's opportunity to tell others about these classes that we're having and the importance and the usefulness. So it's not just the importance, but also the usefulness of these things that we are learning um, in here. Public administration is a big deal. You can't underflog it. You can't ignore it. We're talking about nation building here. We're not just talking about entrepreneurship or any of those kinds of things. We're speaking about public administration generally. So this is a national type conversation, and it's good that we've been able to deal with this to an extent today. I've also enjoyed a lot of my interactions and some of the things that different people have contributed to this particular course today. Okay, so once again, thank you very much, everybody. It's been great talking to you. Any questions? I'm happy to take the questions, and so we can then bring today to a beautiful close. We have a more detailed documentation. I know it's a lot, but I know that I've also tried to bring it down in such a way that a lot of people will understand it and people will be able to, interact with it. But there's also the possibility, once again, listen to it. We'll send you some more materials. You have to pass your test and your exam. We're going to send you sample questions. If you pass all the sample questions, you will definitely pass your examination. If you pass all the sample questions, you will definitely pass your examination. That goes without saying. If you pass all the sample questions. So the idea behind this every week is for us to have the general conversation, this kind of general conversation where I'm teaching it, I'm sharing my thoughts, I'm sharing my experiences and my opinion, and thereafter people can then do some kind of double down to dig it further and use that as the basis to understand a lot of what it is that we're doing. Once again, is also to ensure that these things are not just theoretical. It's important that these things are not just theoretical, that there is a practical side to a lot of these things that we're doing. So once again, thank you very much, everybody. Precious, the Otegus, Gbemi, Zainab, Sonny, Salman, Honesty, Oma, and every other person that is here, Professor Talabi, and every other person. Thank you very much. It's been great speaking to all of you. We'll share links, we'll share many other things, we'll take the conversation forward. And of course, Hafiz and Wisdom that came in. And we look forward to speaking to all of you but during the week, and of course to hold class here on on Saturday of next week. So next week Saturday, we're going to be having one of the courses. I'm not sure which one yet, but whichever one, it will be a good one. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great evening. Oh yeah, get remaining part of your day and weekend. Thank you. Messi, are you there? Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you. It's been an exciting and an insightful session with you. So I don't know if any of us have a question to ask. Please feel free to ask while Doctor is still on the call. Is there any question? Okay, it seems we all understand what today's session was all about. Thank you, Dr. Orlando, for that. So a quick announcement to all of our students and prospective students. Class continues next week, Saturday by 9 a.m. So please endeavor to be in class and on time. Also, for those of us who still have outstanding to make concerning the acceptance fee, please, we solicit you do so and on time also. And then we would love you to follow us on all of our social media platforms, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Then feel free to ask your question on WhatsApp. We are always available to give answers to your queries. Also, last but not the least, we will encourage you to bring in your friends, your family, your loved one. Tell them about this program. It's a scholarship program, and we wouldn't want anyone to miss out of this opportunity. You would agree with me that it's been a very good time so far, and we are still going deep into the study. So please encourage your loved ones. Registration is free. Let them come in and register and take this knowledge for free. Thank you so much, every one of us. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mercy. Thank you so much, and we wish you a beautiful weekend and a beautiful week ahead. We'll see you again in our next class. Thank you and bye. Okay, for the PowerPoint, all slides will be shared on our YouTube channel. Please view on Mondays. You can watch all of these classes on Monday, from Monday onward. It will be shared on our YouTube. Thank you for that, Bemi.